Donald Trump terrorizes Los Angeles, all to distract from his failure as president. Welcome to the No Spin Zone. Graphs Grievances starts right now. It all started with a raid on Friday, June 6th. Federal agents swept through Los Angeles' Garment District, targeting undocumented immigrant workers in a crackdown that Trump's team proudly called the start of a new workplace enforcement push. Protests erupted immediately. Hundreds of Angelenos took to the streets. Some threw eggs at ICE agents. Law enforcement responded with pepper spray and non-lethal bullets. Yet most demonstrations remained peaceful. By Saturday, demonstrations spread from downtown LA to the heavily Latino working-class suburb of Paramount. Tear gas was deployed. Flashbang grenades detonated. More arrests followed. Then, Trump did something almost unprecedented. He ordered 2,000 National Guard troops into Los Angeles. This was not about restoring order. California Governor Gavin Newsom and LA Mayor Karen Bass explicitly warned Trump not to escalate. They said it would only make things worse, and that's exactly what happened. On Sunday, National Guard troops occupied parts of the city and confrontations escalated. Protesters fired fireworks near the US 101 freeway. Over 150 people were arrested in LA alone, with dozens more in San Francisco. Trump took to social media, declaring the city had been, quote, invaded and occupied, calling protesters, quote, insurrectionist mobs. But here's the truth. There was no rebellion. This wasn't a crisis until Trump made it one. Trump didn't just send troops, he tried to take control of California's National Guard without the state's consent. Something no president has attempted since 1965. Under U.S. law, the president can federalize the state's National Guard only under narrow conditions, such as rebellion or obstruction of federal law under the Insurrection Act. But Trump didn't invoke the Insurrection Act. Instead, he used a legal loophole, Section 12406 of Title 10, to justify the deployment. Legal experts say this is likely an overreach. The statute doesn't grant authority to use guard troops for policing protesters, especially when local law enforcement didn't request help. In fact, the LAPD and LA County Sheriff's Office made clear they weren't involved in immigration enforcement and had protests under control. Trump's escalation created the crisis, not the protesters. So why did Trump do this? Because he wanted the fight. He's long painted California as a liberal hellscape and Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom as a personal enemy. When protests broke out, Trump seized the chance for a high-drama showdown with one of his top Democratic rivals. It's textbook distraction politics. The same day this all began, Trump was reeling from a brutal week, including a massive split with Elon Musk and chaos in Congress over his massive tax and spending bill. He needed a reset, a spectacle, and he found one in Los Angeles. Whether you agree with deporting peaceful, undocumented immigrants or not, ask yourself, why isn't Trump targeting their employers? Yes, undocumented immigrants work across LA and America, but they are not stealing jobs. They are doing jobs American citizens won't, and they are contributing massively. In fact, undocumented immigrants paid $100 billion in taxes in 2022, including $26 billion in Social Security and $6.4 billion in Medicare, benefits they will never receive. They pay into a system that supports American citizens' retirement, even though they won't get a dime back. The Congressional Budget Office says recent immigration is projected to boost Social Security revenues by $348 billion over the next decade. Immigrants are subsidizing American benefits. If this was really about stopping undocumented labor, why not try jailing CEOs who hire them instead of families trying to survive? Because this isn't about policy, it's about power, spectacle, and fear. Trump and many Republicans have long complained about the silencing of conservative voices on college campuses. They've railed against universities for supposedly censoring free speech. Yet now, these same leaders are attacking everyday Americans exercising their constitutional right to free speech and peaceful protest. People standing up against immigration raids and government overreach. It's a blatant double standard, championing free speech when it suits them, but labeling peaceful protests as insurrectionists and justifying military force against them when it doesn't. And this obviously isn't about law and order. Remember back in January, one of Trump's first acts when he returned to office was pardoning over 1,500 people tied to the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol, including convicted Proud Boys and Oath Keepers found guilty of seditious conspiracy. These were people who beat police officers with flagpoles, stormed the U.S. Capitol in tactical gear, and tried to overturn a free and fair democratic election by force. Yet, here we are, with Trump and his allies, including Stephen Miller and Vice President J.D. Vance, now painting a completely false picture of what's happening in Los Angeles. They amplify violent images from the protests, deliberately ignoring the peaceful majority. Republican Senator Ted Cruz even reposting footage of a police vehicle on fire. Footage from 2020, not this year or this riot. This isn't about truth or security. It's all about theater. Trump isn't protecting the country. He's performing authoritarianism for the cameras. The goal? To paint immigrants as invaders, protesters as traitors, and himself as a strongman under siege. California has now filed a lawsuit to block Trump's federal takeover of the National Guard. Governor Newsom called Trump's moves authoritarian. Quote, a pattern of ego and control, not leadership. He's right. Trump's deployment of the National Guard without a state request breaks decades of precedent. His use of military force against civilians pushes the boundaries of presidential authority. What we are witnessing is a dangerous playbook, weaponizing fear and division to consolidate power. Trump's raid and militarization of Los Angeles is not about justice or law enforcement. It's about distraction, spectacle, and authoritarian theatrics designed to undermine democracy itself. While families and communities struggle to survive and contribute to this country, Trump targets them as enemies, all while cozying up to violent extremists. This isn't leadership, it's a threat to the principles that hold our nation together. We must recognize the real crisis isn't the protests or immigration. The real crisis is the erosion of the rule of law and the rise of a presidency willing to sacrifice truth and justice for power. Thank you for watching Graph's Grievances. Let me know what you think. Please consider supporting my channel via the Venmo link below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and join me tomorrow for more.